officially that time of the year again. The postseason begins next weekend. The regular season wrapped up for the NFL. Let's get right down to it. Annual tradition, my 2017-2018 NFL playoff predictions. Now this year we're going back to the old scientific method. I know last year was kind of flew by the seat of our pants and we really screwed the pooch, proverbially. So just want to let you know that this time around I'm making my predictions based on a set of 8 different criteria. Now let's get those posted up on there real quick. As you can see there's the stats. If you want to freeze frame and do your own analysis. I'm evaluating the playoff teams based on their yards per play, points per game, points allowed per game, time of possession, turnover margin per game, overall field goal accuracy, and third down and fourth down conversions per game. All very, very good metrics, which I think do a good job as any as determining who wins football games. So with those in mind, let's get right to it. All right, let's take a look over here with the AFC side of the wild card games. Tennessee at Kansas City. Yeah, pretty much statistically, this one favors Kansas City just pretty much across the board. They have a higher yards per play average, higher points per game, better defense, better time of possession, better turnover differential, which is 0.9 compared to negative 0.5. Better field goal percentage, better third down conversion. In fact, the only metric that Tennessee actually beats Kansas City on is on fourth down conversions. And even then, it's 0.3 compared to 0.1 a game. So, all that to say, I think Kansas City really has no excuse to lose this one. I think they go in there and they win by a score of like 21-10. Should be pretty easy for them on that one during the homestand. Then moving along, going to be Buffalo against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, once again, pretty one-sided as far as stats go. They have 5.5 yards per play compared to 4.8 for Buffalo. Obviously, the better offense, 27.1 points per game compared to 18.7 for Buffalo. Better defense, better time of possession, better turnover differential, and a better fourth down conversion. The only metrics in which Buffalo outdoes Jacksonville is field goal percentage and third down conversions. Buffalo is very lucky in the playoffs. They played better this year than they have in a long time, but Jacksonville is way better offensively and certainly way better defensively, and they're really good with the turnovers. So I think they should win this one by a score of like 31-16. So the home teams win. Really no shocker there. Over to the NFC side of the wild card equation. We've got Atlanta traveling to Los Angeles. Once again, pretty one-sided. Now, the third down and fourth down conversion stats are identical, so that's pretty much a push. But in every other category, the Rams pretty much dominate, except yards per play. Atlanta is actually like 1/10 of a percentage point higher. They're getting 6 yards per play compared to 5.9 for LA, if that means anything to you. But beyond that, on points per game, points allowed per game, time of possession, turnover differential, field goal percentage, all favors LA, and I think LA should win this one. I think they win it by a score of like 28-16. So another fairly facile win. Carolina and New Orleans, their third time playing this year. A little bit more interesting in terms of time of possession, field goal percentage, and third down conversion. It favors Carolina. But across the board, everything else, New Orleans is certainly, mathematically anyway, the better team than Carolina. 6.3 yards per play compared to 5.1, putting up 28.3 points per game compared to 23.5 for Carolina. And a marginally better defense, 19.7 points allowed per game compared to 20.3 for Carolina. This is going to be a nail-biter, but I think New Orleans pulls it out and they win 24-21. So let's make our selections here. So yeah, absolutely no surprises here whatsoever. Going with the home team to win everything in the wild card round. Why not? Somebody's got to play it safe. And of course that sets up our divisional games. We've got Kansas City playing New England on the AFC and Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. Now of course Kansas City did beat New England, and they beat them very, very bad at home to begin the season. But the war of attrition is set in. I think New England is going into this game in a lot better shape than Kansas City, which has been pretty beat up down the stretch. New England really showing no signs of slowing down. So I think the fatigue factor there is huge. And that game happened, 17 weeks ago? Yeah, it's a different ball game now. So let's do the stats real quick here. Kansas City has 1/10 of a more yards per play, 6.1 to 6 for New England. Slightly better time of possession, and a higher turnover differential per game. But everything else, New England is doing better. Better points per game, better points allowed per game average, better field goal percentage, and they're playing way better on third down and fourth down. So I think the Patriots get revenge for that opening night loss. I think they win by a final score of like 31-13. So kind of a blowout I'm anticipating there. Jacksonville at Pittsburgh, on paper, this is probably the best overall looking game of the entire run because it's split 4-4 on the metrics. Pittsburgh has the better yards per play. They have the better time of possession. They have the better turnover, not better turnover. They have the better field goal percentage. Have the better third down conversion. But Jacksonville's putting up more points per game. Their defense is allowing less points per game. They have a better turnover differential, which is 0.9 compared to 0.1 for Pittsburgh. That's pretty big. And they are 0.7 on fourth down conversions per game, which is only 0.2 for Pittsburgh. So I think out of all the games that's going to be happening in the postseason, this is probably going to be the most entertaining and exciting one. I do think this one goes into overtime, quite possibly even double overtime. But I do see Pittsburgh going in there, driving downfield, maybe getting a very crucial turnover late. And the field goal unit goes out there and boots it up. And I think Pittsburgh wins 24-21 in a modern day classic. So that sets up the Patriots and Steelers one more time. Over in the NFC, New Orleans visiting Philadelphia. And here's where I'm just going to take a big old fat dookie over my entire system here. Because if you look at it on paper here, Philadelphia has better points allowed per game. They have better points put up per game, better time of possession, better turnover differential, better third down and fourth down conversion rate. But that was back when you had, what's his name, Carson Wentz playing quarterback. Nick Foles has not been very impressive these last 3 games, and I think this is where he makes his life miserable. He's going to pull a modern-day Mitch Williams and completely just hunch the pooch on this game. I think Philadelphia is going to be a huge favorite, but they're going to screw up, and I think New Orleans will go in there and they will shock Philadelphia. They'll bump off the #1 seed. I think New Orleans wins like 28-13. So a big upset there. Remember, I called it first. Also, Los Angeles against Minnesota, another really good looking game here. Look at my stats here. Very close. In terms of yards per play, it favors the Rams. Points per game favors the Rams as well. Also, turnover differential favors the Rams just slightly. They have a better field goal percentage and better fourth down conversion rate. However, Minnesota obviously has probably the best defense overall in the NFL, better time of possession, and a better third down conversion rate. So this one, another nail biter. And as we all know, when it comes to playoffs, you know, offense is good, but defense is what wins you championships. And I think that's going to be very close. The Rams will push the Vikings to the absolute breaking point. But the Vikings, and they do prevail. I think they win a very close game, like 21-20. This one is definitely going to be it's going to be a very good game. But I got the Vikings winning. So let's hurry up and make our selections here. Got New England winning, Pittsburgh winning, New Orleans getting upset, and Minnesota getting upset. Because you know, so far the home team has done very well for themselves. In fact, we only had one away team win so far this year, which is kind of the aberration because most years you go with the road team like we did last year. Had quite a bit of success, but things are different. Alright, now we come to our AFC and NFC championship games. Pittsburgh at New England. Obviously, they had that really exciting game, which come down to the fake spike being intercepted at the end zone to give Patriots the win. I think this will be Big Ben's last game in the NFL. I think after this he retires. I think actually a lot of Steelers are going to be leaving. I think Le'Veon Bell will probably be gone next year. So this one is it's the end of an era for Pittsburgh, no matter what. And obviously the Patriots are going to win. But yeah, let's look at the metrics here. What do we got? Compare and contrast. I'm trying to figure out what we got here. Okay, I'm a little confused by metrics. Okay, yeah. New England, they have a better yards per play, 6 to 5.5 for 5.7 against Pittsburgh. Better points per game, 28.8 to 25.2. Pittsburgh does have better defense, 18.9 compared to 19.3 points allowed per game for New England. They have a better time of possession, but looky here what we got. We've got better turnover differential for New England, better field goal accuracy, and better fourth down conversion rate. Sorry, Patriots win. They're going to another Super Bowl. I think they beat Pittsburgh in a very close one, like 26-18. So there's that. Then over the NFC, a rematch of the 2010 NFC Championship game, but no Brett Favre this time. It's going to be New Orleans going to Minnesota. And again, you look at the metrics here. This one is really, really interesting. Because the turnover differential at 0.3 is dead even. Minnesota better defense, 16.1 points allowed per game compared to 19.7 for the Saints. Also better time of possession and a better third down conversion rate. But New Orleans, hold on now, they have more yards per play than Minnesota. They're putting up more points per game than Minnesota. They have a better field goal percentage, 85.7, and they have a better fourth down conversion rate. So all that to say, it's going to be crazy. I think Minnesota has a way better defense, but it's the Vikings. When they get to the NFC Championship game, bad things happen. I think it's going to be one stoink field goal which costs them the game and extends their misery. But New Orleans shocks the world. They do it again. I think they end up beating the Vikings 23-21. So that gives us Super Bowl 52. New England, New Orleans. Let's do it. That's our Super Bowl. All right, so New Orleans is going to be the away team. Home team is going to be the Patriots because it's better whatever. So yeah, just looking at the stats real quick. New Orleans compared to New England, they have 6.3 yards per play, which is about 0.3 more yards than the Patriots. Patriots more points per game, 28.8 compared to 28.3. Slightly better defense, allowing 19.3 points per game compared to 19.7 for New Orleans. New Orleans has a better time of possession, 31.14 to 30.20. New England, slightly better turnover margin per game, 0.4 compared to 0.3. A better field goal accuracy for New England, 92.3 to 85.7. Better third down conversion rate, 5.2 compared to 4.5. But the Saints do have a better fourth down, 0.8 to 0.5. So it should be a good one. I think the Patriots are it's going to be a closer game than I think last year. I think it's going to be very even. The score is going to change plenty of times. Drew Brees goes out there and tries to make his best MVP case. And I think he does very, very well. And at the end, I just think the Patriots, they're too stacked offensively. I just got that feeling that the New England defense will just hold up in that final fourth and goal situation. I got the Patriots winning Super Bowl 52, 28-21. So that's 6 rings now for Tom Brady. He's far and away the greatest of all time. Don't even bother anymore. You can't even question him. But it's going to be a good game. So there we go. And there, if you want to take a good look at it, there's the entire playoff field there. So, yeah, there you have it. My predictions: Patriots beat the Saints 28-21. Should be a lot of good games in the docket. I'll check back with you next week and see how we did, but hopefully I did pretty well. Should be some good games. All right, see you next season.